So this is Toolbox Talk number 5. It's all about what sort of clothing we should be wearing on site. The aim of this Toolbox Talk then is to remind and revise you about the appropriate clothing to wear on site, what is appropriate, what is not appropriate. So really suitable and sensible clothing on site can protect us against a whole range of hazards. So obviously head protection, dead simple. Standard headgear should be worn on site at all times. For floor form, as you can see with my hard hat here, you should have a floor form sticker on it, and you also should have your name tag on it as well. Again, periodically you should be checking this, checking that the cradle sits in your head, fits you, no cracks on it, no undue damage, etc. And as with all PPE, there should be regular checks being carried out and documented by yourselves and by your line management, so that we can keep a check on your PPE, making sure it's giving you the correct protection. In addition to that, safety boots as well. So again, toe cap protection, undersole protection, ankle protection, and again, with all of our PPE, page 1 of our RAMS stipulates what PPE you should be wearing. It also provides a link to what the standard of that PPE should be as well. So if you're in any doubt as to what standard, just click on the link and it will give you the full rundown from the health and safety governing bodies. Gloves as well. So really we use 4 types of gloves really on site. So again, someone's doing a lot of writing, so for example supervisors, line managers, etc. It's quite appropriate to wear fingerless gloves. With everybody else really, you should be wearing normal category 3 gloves while carrying out sort of general tasks on site. The moment you pick up a sharp object, straight away you have to have a set of category 5 gloves on you. There's no ifs, ands or buts with that. And if you're mixing substances, again, look on the COSH assessment and look on the RAMS, and it will tell you if you need to be wearing chemically protective gloves as well. In addition to that then, high-vis vests, and again, a high-vis vest is only high-vis when it's fairly clean. So if it starts to get a bit soiled, a bit dirty or whatever, chuck it in the wash, get it cleaned up again. Clothes need to be reasonably clean as well. Again, this will help protect against things like dermatitis, things like that, other nasty skin conditions. And avoid loose clothing, particularly if you're working around machinery or sharp tools, where your loose clothing can catch on it, can get you drawn into a machine, or it can cause snagging hazards. Full leg, full arm protection should be used, and in addition to that, particularly if you're wearing particularly if you're using sharps, in addition to your Cat 5 gloves, you must have forearm protection. So whether that is a long sleeve top or if it's Kevlar protective sleeves, either will suffice. Slightly wider then is outside, sunny conditions. Again, if you're working outside, regular intense sunlight, get skin cancer, so don't forget about things like your sun protection. SPF 50 is obviously really good, and again, if you are doing that, don't just put one application on in the morning and forget about it. Regularly reapply the stuff throughout the day. And again with things like soiled clothing, get it in the wash. Or if it's really contaminated, then you're going to have to bin it and get some new stuff as well. Other things to consider then, particularly if you're working around hot pieces of machinery or anything where there's a fire hazard, is synthetic clothing. Synthetic clothing will catch fire very quickly, or will melt very quickly, in contrast to things like cotton and wool, which have a bit more fire resistance. So again, consider what you're going to be wearing if you're going to be around any flames or any excessively hot pieces of equipment or working areas. Finally then, think about jewellery, think about rings that can catch in machinery. Think about neck chains. Again, if you're leaning forward, you might not notice it, catches in a piece of moving machinery, it'll draw you in. Watches as well can get caught up on things. So that's the end of that Toolbox Talk. Again, if you have any questions, fire them back to me or fire them to your supervisor or line manager. Now that you've had the toolbox talk, make sure you sign off on the relevant documentation and pass it back through your supervisor or your line manager.